What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live in a living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous? It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time, DJLittleRock.com. Check availability, get a free price quote, and maybe you can have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Are you not entertained? Let me entertain you. Speaking of entertainment, today on the program, I have Rocky Michaels. You already know who Rocky Michaels is. This is the fourth time he's been on the What Makes You Famous podcast. He's got a brand new song. It's called Dry Erase. Uh-oh, did I bury the lead? Did I spill the beans a little bit? All right. We got a lot more to talk about in the next few minutes, so stick around. You're going to hear a little bit about what's going on with Rocky Michaels today. Ooh, I think my mouth hasn't woken up yet. This week's shows, let's see. I have two public shows for you as we speak. On Friday night, I'm at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas, my usual video dance party, karaoke jam. Yes, I said karaoke. You're the stars of the show. It's a little concert starring each and every one of you. They got a full bar. The kitchen's open. Cool, good food, really good food. The more you eat, the more you can drink. Don't look that up. It's science. Don't look that up. All right? They got good food. So if you need some dinner, try the food over at the Rab on Friday nights. They have 10 diamond-style pool tables. So, in fact, they have a pool tournament on Friday nights. So if you want to try your hand at playing pool and possibly make some money while you're doing it, while you're waiting to sing on stage next to yours truly, you come on out to the Rab Friday night. I start at 8 p.m. and I go till 12:30 in the AM. But I know the Rab opens about 4 p.m. So if you want to come real early and just, I don't know, play pool, I guess, and listen to some music on the jukebox until I get there. So, yeah, always a good time. Good people, good fun over at the Rab, Conway, Arkansas, Friday night, 8 p.m. till 12:30 in the AM. And then on Saturday, I'm back at the Choctaw VFW, Choctaw, Arkansas. Choctaw VFW, Saturday night. I've been doing that about once a month. They've had me coming back to the Choctaw VFW. And it's a great time over there because they actually do have veterans and veterans that have been in foreign wars. So not only do you get to sing, and yes, it is a video dance party, karaoke jam, and play pool. They do have some pool tables as well, and the full bar as well, and they got some snacks. But you also get to hear some stories from the veterans. You get to hear some insights, and you get to hear the veterans sing, because a lot of them do come up and sing. But it's open to everyone, as long as you're 21 or over, and come in with your ID. And I guess it's, I don't know, $3 or $5, something like that to get in. But hey, it's minimal. It's worth it. It's always a good time at the Choctaw VFW Saturday night, and I go from 9 p.m. until 1 in the AM. So we go way past your bedtime at the Choctaw VFW Saturday night. Always a good time. Good people out there as well, and you're the stars of the show. All right, that's it for the intro. Let's get into it with Rocky Michaels. I got him on Zoom, so if you're listening to the audio version of this, check out the video version on my YouTube, youtube.com/user/KeysDan. Zooming Rocky Michaels now. The box is checked, and I make my way to the dry eraser. Yeah, I feel like a race. And what is happening? Rocky Michaels in my face once again. Good to see you, my man. What's happening?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on. Great to see you as well.
Oh man, the pleasure's all on this side of the screen, the video screen. Anybody that's listening to the audio version, first of all, thank you so much for listening to the What Makes You Famous podcast featuring Rocky Michaels with the new song Dry Erase, and there's so much more. It's been about a year, man, just a little bit over a year since the last time you've been on the podcast. This, as far as I can tell, this is time number 4. And my man, what has been happening, brah?
Yeah, thank you so much. No, just enjoying the journey. I'm releasing songs every couple of months, kind of have a pipeline going. So yeah, you name drop the next one coming out August 22nd, which as of this recording is really the end of the week, and excited for that, and still performing out as a solo performer around the greater Bay Area. Wineries are a great compatible venue for me, and I tell everyone, the more they drink, the better I sound. So just, it's a win-win for everybody.
You know what's funny is I work at clubs on Friday nights, and I'm glad you wrote a Friday song. Hey now, Friday. It makes for having just another a song. But yeah, you're right. The more you drink, or the more they drink, the better they sound.
Right.
When I do karaoke shows on Friday nights over at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. Speaking of name dropping, but while you're at the wineries, people are getting getting a little tipsy. But I live in a dry county. We got the alcoholics to prove it. That happens.
It's fun. You mentioned Hey Now Friday. That was kind of just, I try to present songs that are, insightful and deep and kind of representative of who I am. But that one I was doodling, and it just seemed like a fun, lighthearted song, not a lot of depth to it. And I figured, you know what, it's okay just to have a little variety in the album. But this next one, Dry Erase, I kind of get back into my, contemplative, what does it all mean? So it's good to have a variety.
All right. One of my favorite movies of all time is Bloodsport. And Tanaka, when he was teaching Jean-Claude Van Damme's character in the movie, he was teaching.
I got my friend here. Sorry.
Hey, I like that. You're getting some lawn work done. People watching the video, but no, Jean-Claude Van Damme was getting taught by a martial artist, and one of the things he said was, "Don't limit yourself. Keep an open mind." In his French accent, in his Belgian accent, keep an open mind. Rocky Michaels, you don't limit yourself. You play whatever comes to mind, whatever the muse hits you. Or when you're say you're writing Hey Now Friday, and you said you're diddling on the guitar, which amazes me to no end. I have never been able to master the guitar. Of course, I haven't put as much time into it as you have. But people that can diddle, that can have something come to mind. Do you feel like your music comes from outside of you, kind of like David Lynch? He used to say his movies came from outside of his body. Or do you think that they come from your life experience?
Yeah, no, interesting. I'd say everything that I put out there is sort of from life experience. It's hard for me to just kind of make something up, and I've years ago when I started writing, I didn't have a whole lot of depth. I'd write about girls breaking up with me and things like that, which happened a lot. But I've lived a little bit, so I've been writing about songs, parenthood and fatherhood and perspectives. And Hey Now Friday, again, it was kind of a lighthearted song, but there was something innate, something within me that, I do have a day job and I work Monday through Friday, and sometimes Friday I just like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad it's the weekend. So, with every song, you hope people can relate. Not everyone's going to, but for me, really the greatest form of currency is to find that connection, and hopefully I can do that a little bit through song.
Well, some of the most popular songs, the ones that get the most hits, are the ones that are catchy. They repeat themselves. I'll say a friend of the show, or kind of an acquaintance of mine, Casey of Casey and the Sunshine Band. Here I am name dropping again. He used to work at TK Records down in Miami, and people would come up to him and they would say, "Hey, do you have that song by that guy? I can't remember the name of it, but it goes da 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 da." Well, he didn't want people to forget his songs, so that's why he repeats so much. And I'm your boogeyman. I'm your boogeyman. Shake,
It's
shake,
catchy.
shake, 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 shake. That's your Friday song. You need to have a song that's catchy, something that reels them in, something that the crowd can sing along with while they're having their wine, while they're smelling their grapes. Do they wait? I think we talked about this the last time we talked. We were talking about your heroes song. But when you're doing the wineries, are people actually stepping on grapes, or is that is that kind of a fun thing for the tourists to do?
I've never experienced people stepping on grapes, and typically when I play out at wineries, it's more my mellow music. I'm sort of just a backdrop, and they're enjoying their day, their picnic, what have you. Um, so the timing is unfortunate. We got right outside my windows. I got some leaf blowers. But yeah, I don't play a lot of upbeat dance songs at the wineries. I've played at dive bars and at hotels and things like that, and I'll try to cater my set list to the audience. Um, but yeah, typically for wineries, it's more my mellow stuff, and I'm again just serving as somewhat of a backdrop and allowing them to enjoy their day.
Well, I mean, if I can make up a word, you can mellowfy any song. Postmodern jazz. What is that group that jazzifies every single song? And you're listening to these and go, that's like an Ozzy Osbourne song, but you've made it into a jazz hit. And I think that's fantastic that you can, if the mood is jazz over at the wineries in the Bay Area, then you can jazzify anything. Have you taken the time to bring some of that pop stuff, the covers or anything down?
Yeah, by the way, great words, mellify and jazzify. I learned two new words to my vocabulary thanks to you, so I appreciate that.
I'm trying to get those started.
Yeah, what's fun for me about being an acoustic guitarist, if I perform out, is I'll have my original songs, but I also play a lot of covers. And you can take any. I've played Bon Jovi and the Rolling Stones, but I've performed an acoustic version of it, so it is mellified, but it still has that sort of if people are Bon Jovi or Stones fans, they'll recognize the song. And for me, it's kind of fun putting my own little thumbprint on someone else's song, kind of give it your own personality. So I enjoy that.
Well, the Rolling Stones, they've always been kind of anchored in the blues, so you can't always get what you want. That'd be a great acoustic, or Angie, any of those that you can. Oh man, Waiting on a Friend, Tattoo
so many
You.
To choose from.
Yeah, I mean, Tattoo You was one of my first cassettes that I ever owned, and I played that. The first song is "Start Me Up," and it just went from there. But yeah, all that's Waiting on a Friend and all those songs. The Stones, can't believe they're still doing it after all these years. I know they lost the drummer last a few years ago. Was it Charlie Watts, right? But
I think so, yeah. But no, they are inspirational. Yeah, if I could be doing what they're doing, on my small scale, and when I'm in my 80s or whatever their age is, I mean, that is just impressive. So more power to them.
But the thing is, man, people got to realize that even an independent artist, you are doing what they're doing. The quote unquote people that have made millions of dollars, they were at the right time at the right place. There's a little luck involved. But you're doing the same job that they're doing, except they're doing it in front of 100,000 people, and you're doing it in front of 50 or 100 people. But you're still giving it your all. You're giving them a show. You're making them get up off their couches, off their easy chairs, in front of their big screen TVs, and coming out to do something a little different. Go see Rocky Michaels. And which wineries are you at most of the time?
Well, so I mean, there are two major cities that are known for wineries. Napa, which is really not that far from me, and another, it's kind of a sister city called Livermore, and there are just tons of wineries, and especially the summer and fall. Gets into the winter time, I have to look for venues that are typically indoors. And among everything else, I'm my own booking manager, so I just I'm continuously trying to reach out to venues and. But it's fun, yeah, and it's a fun journey. I mean, the great thing about performing music and playing music is, as long as you have all your wits and whereabouts. I mean, theoretically, I could hopefully do this for quite a long time. And for better, for worse, so far I don't really have a shortage of ideas. I have this whole stockpile of fragments, and on my phone. I just every time I think of something, I'll record it And so my pipeline is still pretty healthy, and I'm enjoying the journey.
You know, us guys of a certain age, or people of a certain age, grew up we've always had some kind of technology. We can always have a cassette tape with a, press record play, and we can record our thoughts, our ideas. But now you have almost a recording studio in your pocket at all times. You can make yourself a little demo. You can go live on some of these social medias, which you've been able to master. And that's, I think, Gen X, man, we've been through it. We've gotten and adapted to the technology, almost as good as the alphas, the millennials, and but you're doing it. I see you doing your lives. I see you playing videos, and even for Dry Erase, there's a behind the scenes on your YouTube page that you had a friend help you with, and I can tell that the video is made, but you just you're holding back on it. You're saying, no, I'm gonna give you a little taste.
Yeah, my secret ingredient are my two boys. They're the chief technical officers for Rocky Michaels. I mean, they'll tell me, "Hey, Dad, use this hashtag or post here and this and that." And so, the younger generation, I mean, they are dialed in, and they don't know what typewriters are and landline phones. So definitely, they've been a great resource. And yeah, for the behind the scenes, as a fan of other musicians and artists, I love to see kind of a pull back the curtain and how do they do it, and so I thought it would be fun to just give those who are listening or watching a little sneak peek, what goes on behind it. That was actually my son in the behind the scenes video, and it's amazing what one can do these days with a tripod and a smartphone and some editing software, and you've got so much at your fingertips. It's amazing.
Well, you have actually made yourself a team. How about that? You created this life, and and here he is. He grew up, and now he's part of your production company and helping you to get the word out. But it's all content. For a fan like myself of Rocky Michaels, it's nice to see the behind the scenes, or in front of the scenes, or around the scenes, or peek behind the curtain. That's what anybody can go to the show and see the finished product. But it's nice to, and these podcasts give people an idea of what you were thinking when you were writing the songs, when you were putting the songs together. That's you know what I love is this. If you're watching the video, please, you're getting a slice of Rocky Michael's life. He's outside on his porch or whatever, or he's got a view to the backyard or the front yard, and I just see lawn care going back and forth. I don't like doing my lawn care. I got my father-in-law that cuts my grass. Of course, he likes cutting grass, and it's his lawnmower. But I don't think I've never cut my lawn. I think I've weed eated a handful of times, if that.
Well, just so you know, I'm not at home. I'm actually at an office, and I didn't realize that they were going to be going back and forth as we're shooting this podcast right at the same time. So I apologize, but it's an office environment, and hopefully the noise isn't too distracting.
Well, I guess
here it comes again.
I outed myself. No, I don't even hear it, but I have. I guess my headphones are kind of cheap. They're not incredibly sensitive, but no, I outed myself with I don't do my own lawn. Do you do your own lawn, Rocky Michaels?
Years ago, California they've had droughts for a while. But the slogan out in California was, brown is the new green. So a lot of homeowners have been reducing the size of their grass footprint in favor of soils or different types of outdoor sort of not architecture, but just design. So we have a very small footprint of grass, but so I don't really do it.
Yeah, if I could pave my whole yard, I would. My wife is just now kind of getting estimates on rocks around the property, getting a little more landscape. I pulled some weeds and I realized, man, this could use a little landscaping, but I'm not going to do it. I'll throw money at it. That's why I'm
Hey,
working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, 5 jobs.
that's right.
It's
That's
nice
right.
to have some lawn care. But you live in a state that's very natural. No, I know that Arkansas is the natural state is what it is. But you're is it a sunshine state? Because that was Florida too. What's the
I think it's the Golden State. I
Golden
think it's
State?
Golden State Warriors. There you go.
Okay, I mean,
And
and you hang out primarily in the Napa Valley, and I feel bad for the what was the other one? Livingstone.
Livermore.
Livermore. Never
Yeah.
heard of Livermore. Napa,
Yeah.
I know as a
Yeah.
as a non-drinker, I know Napa as a place that makes grapes and makes
Yeah.
the grapes. But Livermore, why did that get a bad rap? I never heard of it.
I think Napa's got the claim. Livermore's got it's sort of a secret gem in the Bay Area. They've got some great wineries. Wente is sort of a flagship there. But going back to California, I mean, we're some of my favorite places to visit are along the coastline, and it's a lot different than the East Coast. A lot of natural beauty, not as commercialized. In fact, my latest song coming up, Dry Erase, was filmed on the beach in a city called Aptos near Santa Cruz. And we just love it. You just go over the hill and it's like you're in a whole different world. And it's just, I just love the ocean. And a lot of my music, the videos have an ocean or Pacific Coast theme to it.
Yeah, I enjoyed driving up the PCH. It was one of the best roads to drive, scenic wise. Looking at the ocean, I think I went as far as Bakersfield on that particular time. I went from San Diego. I don't know how far I was on the PCH or where it actually went, but I remember driving along the ocean, the
Yeah.
Pacific Coast Highway. I don't. Does that sound right? Does it go from San Diego to Bakersfield? Can I get that there from here?
Bakersfield's a little inland, but you can go straight up Highway 1. In fact, name drop, I have a song called Highway 1 with the music video, but you can go, I mean, from San Diego, you go up, all the way LA and Carmel, Monterey, San Francisco. You can even go up, further, and it literally hugs the California coastline, and it's just beautiful.
Well, this is probably 8, 10 years ago. I know I went to San Francisco when I was a teenager at 16, many moons ago, but I wasn't driving, so I don't know the route that we did. I remember there was traffic in the middle of the night, and we're going to start sounding like an episode of the Californians pretty soon. But I remember heading out of the airport.
101, yeah, to Ventura, man.
Heading out of the airport 2 a.m, and it was a traffic jam. Is that still happening in California?
Different pockets. LA is definitely very crowded, and even San Francisco. But in between, there's actually a lot of open. It's an agricultural state. I mean, I know it's known for Silicon Valley and Hollywood, but there's just a tremendous amount of agriculture. In fact, I think California is the 5th largest economy in the world. So it's an interesting place. Where I live, the Bay Area is not really representative of the rest of the country. It's interesting. You got San Francisco, Silicon Valley, Stanford, Oakland, Napa, Lake Tahoe, and not too far. It's an interesting place. A lot of diversity out there.
Yeah, people that go outside of the country that haven't explored every inch of this country. There's so much to see. I think one of the things that they were talking about California, I went surfing at 6 a.m. and drove 6 hours and went into the mountains and hiking. Is that something that you've done? Have you ever surfed and hiked or been to the ocean and hiked on the same day up a mountain?
So again, I mean, you're setting me up. This wasn't pre-planned, but I have another song called Seasons, and it was really fun shooting the music video because I wanted to capture all 4 seasons.
Yes.
So I got up early one Saturday morning and I drove to Lake Tahoe, where I captured my snow for the winter season. The next day, I drove to the coast and I captured my summer. And then I just filled in the fall and spring. And it was all done within the 48-hour period, but I was able to capture snow and beach and fallen leaves. And, it's all right there.
Yeah, you were at the beach, and then you're on top of or at Lake Tahoe, and you're catching the snow. It's fantastic.
Right.
That amazes me. I've hardly been north of the Mason-Dixon. I mean, recently I went to Detroit. Why did he go to Detroit? I don't know. No, I went to pick up somebody, but that was the furthest north I've been ever, and even experiencing all the blight or plight of the city of Detroit, all the closed down factories that used to be car companies, thriving car companies. And then driving back, on the highways and just kind of looking off the highways. Wow, look at all that. There's so much, and then I guess going across some of the country was flat, and some of the country is hilly. So, man, there's so much to see.
A lot of diversity. Well, next time you're out west, California, let me know. We'll connect up.
Well, I gotta get to San Francisco again, man, and get to Napa. I think my mom and dad. I was 16, and they went to San Francisco. I don't think we took the Alcatraz. Did we go? No, we looked at Alcatraz, and I think they went to, or they dragged us to Napa Valley and drank some drinks. We didn't get to drink some drinks. I don't know what the kids were doing while the parents were getting sloshed.
Yeah. Well, if the Razorbacks are playing football out here, one of the college football teams, we'll find a time. We'll have you come out.
I lose man points because I don't even know if the Razorbacks even play a California team. I worked on sports radio down in Little Rock, Arkansas, and I didn't know a lot about sports. But after listening, I was kind of producing and running the board for them, and every once in a while I would talk and kind of put my 2 cents in because I was starting to get an idea of what sports were. But I'm not good at it. I did have some professional sportscasters, some ex-athletes that would come on and just chat it up, and it was interesting. Yeah, how far into the sports do you get?
I'm a huge sports fan. I know the two different divisions between Razorbacks versus the Pac teams out here. I grew up, I'm a homeboy. I love the San Francisco Giants, the 49ers, Golden State Warriors. In fact, my son just got a job with the Golden State Warriors, so he's loving it as well. It's just fun. It's a fun outlet to life can be kind of challenging enough. It's fun to have sports and to have a team to kind of rally behind. So,
yeah. Well, you're going to get some tickets now, man. That's the dream.
I'm working it. It's all about connections.
Get you on the sidelines. Maybe you'll sit next to Jack. Did Jack even go to the games anymore? I don't know.
Oh, he's a huge Lakers fan down in LA. So, I think he's got front row courtside seats. He's had that for years. But that's down south. Actually, people don't realize to get to LA from where I am, it's a 5 or 6 hour drive south. California is a long state.
Yes, thanks for giving the geography. I'm from Florida, so Miami to even the north of Florida is 9 hours. It's a long state as well. And I think there was one time I drove across Texas. That was like a 2-day state. I was like, I got to take a break.
State.
I got to take a break from east to west. And you're talking about different, like you're in the valley now, or Napa Valley, or in the Bay Area. Yeah, there are different flavors. It's different from L.A. and even Carmel. And the thing I remember about Carmel is Clint Eastwood was the mayor, and this is back in the '80s. I don't think he's even thought about it since then. But I remember the mayor of Carmel when they were announcing his movies was Clint Eastwood. But
that's right.
When you're up there in Napa Valley, and you can name drop if you want, do you rub elbows with any of these stars? I know a lot of people have to come through there.
Yeah, no, I'll be at wineries unless they happen to drop in a winery, but I haven't really come across stars. But, real quickly, you made me remember getting back to the Bay Area. Just another example of the diversity is there are so many different microclimates out there. Where I live, in a small town called Danville, it's about 40 miles due east of San Francisco. it can be 60 degrees in San Francisco and it can be 100 degrees in Danville in a 40-mile difference. So it's that's another layer of just diversity going on out here.
Yeah, was it Emerson that said the coldest winter I ever had was a summer in San Francisco?
Yeah, was it him or was it oh, somebody said that. Yeah, it's funny because you get the coastal fog, which is like an automatic air conditioner.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, in July you go to like baseball games in July at night, and it's you almost get the you know you almost get frostbite. I mean, it's so cold with the air and the mist in the air. But that's part of the charm.
I like that throughout this podcast, throughout this conversation that we've been having, I'll have anecdotes or some things will pop into my head, and they trigger songs that you've written or songs that you've thought about. So this is you in that life experience. Once again, you walk through life. Some people just walk through life and don't even notice the things around them, but you obviously, take in the moments, take in the surroundings, and write about them, and they become your muse, and that's fantastic. Now, your son that got the job with the Golden State, was he the same guy that was doing the video work with you?
That was him. Yeah, that was our oldest son. So it was that was actually that video was on my birthday weekend, and so we gathered the family to the beach for the weekend, and he was able to get time off. He works in San Francisco, and so again, it's nice to have both our boys around in the Bay Area. But yeah, all is well. And as I said, circling back, it's hard to kind of make things up when I write. So I'm just drawing on my goofy life experiences and real quickly dry erase. If I have a 30 seconds to share with you kind of how that came about. I was actually sitting at the ocean earlier in the year, and just thinking, wow, how huge is this ocean and how small am I compared? And, I kind of had a introspective moments like, what the heck am I doing here? What is my greater purpose in life? And so I thought of the analogy of a dry erase board. If you think about it, you make something, you put in the time, you create something, and then eventually it goes away. And so I was sort of consumed with like, okay, what am I doing? What is my meaning here? And so that's the lyrics came out. And again, you hope people connect with the song, with the message. But it's a joy, kind of therapeutic just to put out stuff out there, and, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. From the tidbit, dry erase, I thought of it and I was like, oh, is this kind of one of those movie moments where you think of your life? Would anyone miss you if you were dry erased? Is that the what I was getting from that?
Kind of, yeah. It's just how fleeting, our lives are. Plus, I thought dry erase was a little bit more professional than Etch a Sketch.
All right.
Didn't quite have the same marketing effects. So, yeah, just it's our lives are temporary, and what do we want? How do we want to be remembered? In fact, that was the tagline. I work so hard to show my face. I make my mark, but with a dry erase, will I be remembered? And that's kind of the essence of the song.
Maybe I had a little bit of a Jimmy Stewart, idea. Maybe it's a little darker where, would I be missed if I were never born, that kind of the thing. But you're saying that things are temporary. If you leave a house, well, my house, if my father-in-law wouldn't come over and cut the grass, it would be overrun. Nature would take over rather quickly, and it would be like we were never here, and nature would overrun us, and we'd be dry erased.
Yeah. Do you think you'll be remembered 100 years from now or 50 years from now? And it's kind of a simple, but at the same time, kind of profound question. It's like, wow. So again, I don't know when inspiration for better or worse is going to hit me, but for that particular song, that's what kind of I grabbed onto. And, I try to have different themes with all my musics and my messaging. Again, on the heels of that kind of lighthearted "Hey Now Friday" song, this is kind of the other end of the spectrum, just a lot more serious, and you know,
Well,
it's part of the journey.
you have a great chance of being remembered, with all this technology, as long as electricity and the internet stays alive and your YouTube page stays up forever, which, forever is a long, long time. But, who knows how media is going to be kept, on little chips, or maybe we will get chipped and it'll all be in our brain. We'll know everything all the time at once. Wow. And would that make the world a better place if we knew exactly what everybody was thinking at any given time? Or would that just create chaos? I don't know.
Yeah, it's who knows what the future is going to be like. So, all we can do is just kind of live, make the most of our time now, and make the most of our days. Try to, I'll tell our kids, when you go to bed at night and you put your head on the pillow, think back, what did I do that day? Did I do anything to grow, to work on a trade or, whatever? And it's just, you got to keep moving forward. And I mean, that's really all you can do. So who knows what the future holds?
Well, I mean, okay. Looking back, I was looking, okay. And I do want to talk about a month ago, where you have your brain aneurysm, the anniversary. How many, 20 something years, 20 what years?
Yeah, it was 2000. So it's been 20, it was my 25-year anniversary, I guess, if you call it an anniversary. Yeah. I posted that, because it was 25 years. I'm fine. I've been checked out, since then, we have two boys, and I've done some things in life that I'm proud of, so I'm fine. But it's so many. There are people walking around with aneurysms that nothing will ever happen. They'll die of different causes. But I wanted to use it as an opportunity, just kind of for a public awareness message. It's a relatively small percentage of the population. But typically for those who are afflicted by it, 50% of them are going to die right away. And the other, 50% who survive, half of them are going to have some sort of debilitating permanent, issues. And so I don't know why statistically I was one of the lucky ones. It definitely gave me I like to say, the precious gift of perspective. And I think that somehow has kind of manifested itself in sort of my songwriting and messages. I'm here for whatever reason. So it was kind of a personal but special day for me and my family.
See, I'm glad you did that. And I'm glad I steered you into this. I know I took a real left turn talking about that, but I believe that you've taken that lease on life. You know that it could have been a whole lot worse. It could have been life ending. And you took it. I wholeheartedly believe your thirst for life and your ability to create is in part because of that, because you know how fleeting life is. Am I right in that assumption?
I think so. Yeah, it's definitely made me, not at first, right? The first year or so, I was afraid to sneeze. I wasn't quite sure, but I eventually trusted the doctors and the neurosurgeons. But since then, yeah, it's like, I'll also tell my kids, why settle for being ordinary when you have an opportunity to be extraordinary? That's Dad's message to my kids, and that I'm trying to live by that, and just try to just go the extra mile, and just I can sleep when I'm dead. So I'm just trying to do as much as I want, or as much as I can right now, and kind of make the most of my life. And that ties into Dry Erase, like. Will I be remembered in 100 years from now? So it all fits together.
Well, it's all perspective, and I appreciate that. I was a medic at the hospital, and I was a medic in the fire department, so I know how fleeting life is. So take every moment and enjoy it. I'm glad I have my family around me, and I have I have a little kitty cat sleeping right there. I got my wife over there. I got my daughter over there, and there's another kitty cat. And I appreciate the things in life. You know, when I'm home and I'm talking to people like you, Rocky Michaels, and I'm learning from you where you're at and where you were and where you're heading.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you. We're all in this together. We can lean on each other. We can draw strength from each other and inspiration. I mean, back at you. I mean, I follow you and I just admire all that you're doing. And you're such a smooth operator with the podcast and the interviews. So it's you definitely, you got your talent and you're in the right place. And it's always a joy to come on and chat with you.
Well, good. I have a ukulele here that I cannot play. There's a harmonica sitting up there I cannot play. So I'm glad the gift of gab and the gift of engagement is part of my wheelhouse. But I did talk about where you're going. I do want to know where you're heading. You got the Dry Erase song coming out on the 22nd. Is that right?
On the 22nd, yeah, that's right. So today the recording is Monday, so it'll be Friday, 4 or 5 days from now.
Fantastic. And then, as we record.
So like I said, I have a pipeline. So my next song is done. I'm looking at maybe October, early November for that. And I have some ideas after that. I want to, I don't want to just put out a song for the sake of putting it out. I want to be proud of it, and I want it to be somewhat representative of what I'm trying to say. So I have a couple of other songs kind of jockeying for position. So beyond the next one coming out October, November, I have material. It's just a matter of, what I want to release. And I'll continue to perform out, around the greater Bay Area. If anybody is in the Bay Area, on my website, you can just see under the performance tab where I'll be. And if you happen to be around and are available, come on by, say hi. Always love to hear from people.
Well, tell people what that website is, Rocky Michaels.
Thank you, sir. You can always go to rockymichaelsmusic.com. That's rockymichaelsmusic.com.
I like it. Your radio voice is
and I've got
strong.
All my links on. I'm not like you, man. I can't keep up with you, but I've got all my tabs on there.
Super duper, man. And it's a good website. It really is. And I appreciate that you put out music videos. Who's helping you out with the mixing down of the music? Are you doing it all yourself, or you still have some people helping you get it all just the way it should be before you get it out to the world?
Yeah. So we touched on technology before. So a lot the backing tracks I outsource. There's a great producer currently I'm working with. His name is Stacy Hogan in Nashville. And so he's helped me with the backing tracks. It's really an interesting process. I'll send him a scratch audio. I'm singing and playing guitar. Maybe I'm playing piano. I'll send it to him. We'll chat about it. Here's what I like. Drop down here, go here. He'll then send me the backing tracks. I'll lay my vocals, and we're just kind of ping-ponging back and forth. But the interesting thing is, we've been doing this for a few years. I've never met him because just technology allows us to, send audio files back and forth. And that's the power of today's technology. So couple songs I'll play piano on, or there's one song, Live in the Moment, that I kind of did it all myself. But most of the songs, it's the backing tracks that I just outsource, and then I, kind of do my vocals and my harmonies, and I'll mix at the end. And yeah, we have the tools these days to do that. We couldn't do that, 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah. The SM7B, I'm no way sponsored by Shure, but I got it sitting in front of my face, and I appreciate it. And I had EV20s for the longest time, and other, SM58s. And it's nice that technology has come down in price. And if you want to do a certain job, yeah, if you want to be a carpenter, you're going to buy the good hammer. If you're going to, you want to buy the tools for the job. You want to be a photographer, you get the good camera, and you get the good tools that are going to give you the ability to record you at the house. So you have yourself a little recording studio, something that's adequate enough to where you could send. Well, do you do the mix down, or does your Nashville guy do the mix down?
He'll mix the backing tracks. I'll mix my vocals and my harmonies with his backing tracks. And right now, my man cave recording studio is basically our son's closet. He moved out, so aside from the clothes, I set it up in there. I close the door. I mean, it's literally, I can touch both sides, but it works. It works, So I keep the dog out while I'm in there, and it's all good.
Hey, you're not alone. I mean, some of these, like Will Arnett on his podcast, he famously says he's in his closet recording things, and probably the Chevy commercials that he does, he records in his studio that's in his closet, and who knows? The way he talks about it, he barely fits in his closet as well. So the acoustics in there are great because the clothes will take the sound as So
absolutely,
yeah, it's not unheard of to record in a closet. I probably should move all this to my closet. Might sound better. All right. We've talked about your song. It
looks impressive.
Yeah, we've talked about your song. It's coming out, man, and you're still playing. I guess you gave a shout out to Wentz in Livermore. What is it? Wentz?
Yeah. Oh, Wenty. They're
Wenty.
Just one of the more popular names. I don't think I've played there, but as far as wineries go, there's one of hundreds. But that's sort of a big name brand, from what I understand. I don't drink wine, so I don't drink alcohol anymore. I think I filled up my quota in college.
There you go.
So, but whenever I go to the wineries and perform, they'll send me a bottle of wine and I'll bring it home to my wife. So it's kind of a win-win situation for everyone.
Nice. Keep her slushed or whatever. No, but I want to put I keep saying it. Livermore, right?
Livermore, yeah, funny name, but
okay,
yeah.
I want to put that on the map, man. It's on the What Makes You Famous walking tour now, because I have never heard of Livermore, and Napa is getting too much. They're getting too big for their britches. Livermore needs some love too, and Wenty's, no way sponsored by Wenty's, but please, Wenty's sponsor Rocky Michaels. Throw him a couple dollars and have him play on a Thursday, Friday, whatever.
Yeah, you're a good man. Yes. Thank you.
All right, bro. We've talked. I think we talked enough. Let's wind this thing down. You've given some shout outs. Any places you're going to be playing in the next few days, next month or so?
Yeah. So I'll be playing in Pacifica and a town called Benicia. I think I need to get on the horn, get on the phone, and start calling more places to fill up. Like I said, I'm my own booking manager, and between all the different things, I'm multitasking. So I need to stock up my performance dates. But I've got a few out there in the Bay Area. I'd love to expand. If anyone's listening, they have some places for a solo, singer-songwriter. I'd love to, come down to LA or up to Oregon. I'm happy to expand my footprint, but I'm just appreciative, whenever places bring me in, and I get it's fun to record and perform music, but it's also a different level of enjoyment to perform live and interact, with the audience. And so I'm enjoying all facets of being a musician. Yeah.
You're letting the next generation of musicians know that they don't have to go around the world. If they want to get to a certain level, yes, they do have to go to around the world. But if they want to just make a living or make a few extra dollars or, some extra cheese on their hamburger, if you eat hamburgers, then they could stay within a half an hour, an hour. I have a wedding that's 3.5 hours away. I'm kind of psyching myself out to drive that 3.5 hours to go perform at that show. If you have to drive 3.5 hours, perform the show, and then drive 3.5 hours straight back, I'm dreading that, but I'm excited to do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I think, it depends on what your objectives are. I mean, there are so many ways to go about this. Do you want to just, put out music? Do you want to increase your Spotify streams? Do you want to be able to perform live? Do you want to there's no wrong answer. I mean, to each their own as far as what they want to get out of it. For me, I'm just trying to enjoy the journey. I don't know what's ahead. I'm probably not going to fill out, the Levi Stadium where the 49ers play. Um, Maybe I will, but regardless, I'm just trying to enjoy. Life's like I said, life's hard enough. You got to have some positive uh, moments to enjoy to kind of keep you sane. So that's it. This is it for me.
Maybe you will. Maybe you will be in a festival that ends up at Levi Stadium, and you might be part of the show, but you'll still be in front of all those thousands of fans, and they'll all be screaming, "Rocky, Rocky!" And you'll turn around and you'll see Sylvester Stallone's there. You go, "Oh, okay, that's who they were talking about."
That's right. Yo, Rocky.
Nah, you're the only
namesake.
Rocky in my face right now, so I'm very happy to have you around. All right, Rocky.
right.
Rocky Michaels, we finish these things off with last words for the people. This could be words to live by, something you heard a long time ago, or a mantra you wake up with every morning. Rocky Michaels, give the last words for the people.
The last word. Well, since I celebrated a birthday, it was actually in June, but so this is on my mind. I heard a quote a while ago, and it's a simple but also really kind of deep. The quote says, "How old would you be if you didn't know how old you were?" And if you think about it, it's like, we have our biological age, but some days I feel like I'm still in my 20s. Some days I feel like I'm 90, Um, but don't focus so much on the number assigned to your biological age. Just you're not too old to be what you might have been, and just go for it in life and do what you can. Enjoy. Don't worry about the age, and enjoy. And peace out.
Well, there you have it, party people. Rocky Michaels, what a cool dude. And, maybe it's California. Maybe it's the area that he's living in. But he's such a cool, laid-back dude. And it reflects in a lot of the music that he plays. He's a solo acoustic guitarist. I don't think I've seen him play. I guess I need to ask him about that, if he's ever played an electric guitar. I'm sure he has. But his primary weapon of choice, if I can coin that phrase, is the acoustic guitar, and he'll play for you, and primarily over at the Napa Valley and Livermore. See, I never knew about that part of California, that they have their own grapes. So I want to show them some love, and maybe I'll get some more tourists out that way instead of Napa Valley. I know Napa, you got the good stuff. You got the goods, but there's more to it. And San Francisco, really great. And all that whole Bay Area, really great flavor. A lot of stuff to see. It's not just electronics and the Silicon Valley and all that. There's so much more. It's interesting people. I remember, I haven't been there since I was 16, but it did make an impression on me. I remember looking out over the bay and seeing Alcatraz. Maybe I'll get over there and check out some of those Napa Valley or Livermore Valley. Wait, I'm sure I'm saying it wrong. Those valley grapes. I know I'll enjoy the grapes, whether I drink the wine or not. I don't know. I've been meaning to start drinking. Probably not. I'm not going to do it. I like being aware. I like being in control of my faculties. But maybe there's something to it, possibly. I'm sure there's some good wine out there that's tasty, and it'll help you get in a different kind of mindset, different kind of mood. But then there's all kinds of other substances that they use out there in California. And we didn't even get into that. I'm in a weird mindset right now. I need to get off this. Rocky Michaels, thank you so much for being a part of the What Makes You Famous podcast again. That's it for this edition of What Makes You Famous. Hey, make sure you, I do want to tell you, go check out RockyMichaelsMusic.com and check out all his links. He's got some good videos out there, and I appreciate the videos. All right, that's it for this edition of What Makes You Famous. Now, if you, yes, you, my loyal listener, if you'd like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call, 501-470-6386, or email keysdan@aol.com. That's it for me. It's keysdan, radiowhat.com, djlittlerock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.